Steve, one of the things that you say is that the way we think about a situation is often more important than the situation itself. Can you talk to us a little bit about why having high beliefs and positive beliefs is important as a leader for not only you, but for the organisation we lead and the people we lead?
Taff, I've concluded that leadership is about 90% how we think. We're always thinking something, and our thoughts come from our beliefs. And so great leaders have great beliefs, great priorities, great habits, and it needs to be in that order. The old covenant was moved forward by good behavior and the focus on the works of the law. The new covenant is focused on good beliefs. And so the question of the hour is not, Lord, what should I do? The greater question is, what should I believe? What do you want me to renew my mind with? Romans 12:2 says, it doesn't say be transformed by trying harder. It says be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And obviously, character and integrity is important because people won't trust us without it. But it is my believing something higher than what I'm feeling and experiencing that's going to bring transformation. So as a leader, I want to use this language. I work more on what I believe than what I do.
That's very good. Why is that? How do we steward that as a leader within our teams? How do we foster this culture, create this culture, and help others to have their high beliefs as well?
Well, first of all, become convinced of it ourselves. And because whatever culture we're trying to create, we need to first get it in ourselves. Yeah. So as my mentoring of leaders, I'm more concerned about how they think than what they do. I'm obviously concerned about what they do, but there's belief systems behind what we do. And if we don't address those, then we're probably not going to get to the real root of what's going to cause growth. Jesus said in John 8:31, he said, if you abide in my word, you are my disciples indeed, and you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. So my goal is to help people abide, my team, my church, to learn how to abide in God's promises, their biblical identity, prophetic words, testimonies, because if I can get them to abide in that rather than to abide in the lies of the enemy, because the devil's a liar. He's always lying to us. That's his main weapon. He's the accuser of the brethren. And so the truth is that I can renew my mind with lies or truth. So my goal is to help people I influence. All right, let's not deny the circumstances. Let's not deny feelings, but we can't get our beliefs from them. We can't keep renewing our mind with them, because if we do, then we're just going to be doing laps in the wilderness.
So how do you confront someone who you think is just living in a negative mindset or a low belief? How do you actually confront them and help them to think bigger?
Well, we'll talk about an empowerment. I wrote the book Culture of Empowerment, and so I want to be an empowering leader. So empowering leaders tell people much more who they are than they tell them what to do. So it isn't so much a confronting of the negative belief, even though there may be times we do that. It's more creating a culture where we're telling people who they are, focusing on God's promises. And in that culture, it's going to create it is a culture where people's beliefs are going to get higher. And if I'm just stuck in lies, it's going to start sticking out like a sore thumb.
It's true. It's true. And I know from experience that the way you talk and the way that you encourage us to think and just the statements that you make, that naturally creates that culture and challenges our mindsets and challenges us to think higher just because of the way that you speak and communicate your high beliefs and high hopes and things, is that it just naturally challenges us, and we're confronted just because you are so hopeful and so full of high beliefs that we're confronted every time that we hear it, because it clashes with any negative thoughts we might have.
I remember the first church I pastored, I was complaining to the Lord about my people. Say, God, if I had better people, I could really do something. He says, Steve, do you know what your people's biggest problem is? He says, your people's biggest problem is you. It's your beliefs about them. And great leaders have great beliefs about the people they lead. They see them prophetically. Paul said in 2 Corinthians 5:16, I regard no man after the flesh. So the Lord shifted me on, okay, because who I believe I'm talking to will determine the level of empowerment in my words. My beliefs, my words reflect my beliefs. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Yeah. And so that's where you're great people. You're history makers. I mean, when Bill Johnson went to Weaverville, he one of his main goals was to convince them they were significant. But first he had to believe they were significant. Yeah. And so, it starts with me, because if I got bad beliefs about me, it's hard to have good, because love your neighbor as you love yourself. So it starts with my own beliefs about me. Am I significant? Am I important? Am I who God says I am? Or am I who my past says I am? Or am I who my feelings say I am?
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, thank you for challenging us on our high beliefs.
So just, even the whole how to do it, because I know that's kind of the question that we first need to be convinced that I, as a leader, my making disciples is more focused on creating strong beliefs in the people. Well, how do we do that? One of the things I do for myself is I've got this declaration clicker. It's a tally counter. And so I have it by my coffee maker pretty much every morning, or it's in the bathroom. I see it first thing, and it reminds me that the question today is not how do I feel? The question is, what am I going to renew my mind with? What am I going to believe today? And so, I'll start off by, this will be a great day. This is a day of victory. This is a day of breakthrough. This is a day of freedom. This is a day of answered prayer. And usually when I say it, I don't feel it. Because feelings follow beliefs. My wife wrote a book called Victorious Emotions, and it goes into that. So I like to challenge people and say, all right, do an experiment and make 100 faith declarations a day for a month and see what happens. Everywhere I go, revival breaks out. Millions of people are going to be in heaven because of my life. I lay hands on the sick and they recover. So I become convinced in myself. I strengthen my own beliefs. The people I lead are great people. The people I lead love Jesus. They're committed people. They're generous people. And so I stir up my beliefs about their true biblical identity. And then as I see them like that, I see myself like that, I see them like that, then it's going to pull out of them what they never thought they could do.
That's very practical. You could have a challenge between your team as who can do the most clicks in a day.
It's fun, and it's really helped me, because my battle, it just like all of us, we're all tempted to believe lies. I mean, that's in 1 Corinthians 10:13, it says, no temptation has come upon you except which is common to man. And the greatest temptations we face are to believe lies. And I mean, that's what happened to Eve in the garden. The first temptation was to believe the lie, God's not good. He's your problem. He's restricting things from you. And we all hear the same lies. I never knew that as a young leader. I thought I was the only one feeling unworthy, feeling shame, feeling inferior, feeling like a victim. All of those strongholds that are created by repeatedly renewing my mind with lies, nobody ever told me that. And so I'm thinking it's my personality. I'm thinking it's my gift mix. And so it's powerful.
Yeah, it's good. Thanks, Steve.